$14,400 this year with monthly checks for the low income, the Support Act, and what it means for you. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. I know in this video, I do want to share with you the details of a popular piece of legislation in Congress right here, right now, which would send out ongoing monthly checks specifically focused on the low income in the amount of $14,400 per year per person. Sounds pretty awesome, right? Yup, I agree, and that's what I want to talk about here in the video, as they are already implementing some of this right here, right now, as we speak. Let's get right into it and talk through all the details. First off, before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here, or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video, as I'm here for you right by your side every single day, doing all the research and breaking it all down into these short videos, so you can stay posted on what is actually going on, and anything popping up right now, you can possibly grab it or take advantage of, as things are changing very, very rapidly. So again, I'm here for you every single day as your one and only daily advocate. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about the details of ongoing monthly checks, $14,400 a year per person, and how they're already implementing this, as well as how this is focused on the low income. Seems like this one checks all the boxes, right? Yeah, probably, right? Sounds pretty awesome. And again, I want to talk you through the details because they are already implementing some of the different provisions within this piece of legislation right here, right now, and they have been for the last few years. And all of the evidence and everything we're seeing coming out of these programs that are out there and what is going on is showing very positive results, as in it works, it helps out a lot of people, and ongoing monthly checks, provided they are highly focused for the people that actually need them, is actually very productive. However, like what we saw with the stimulus checks over the last several years here, don't get me wrong, the stimulus checks were great, but the problem is, if those are not highly focused like they were not throughout that period of time for the last few years here, it leads to a lot of other things like supply chain issues, demand issues, supply issues in the marketplace and in retail stores and stuff like that, as well as inflation as well. So my point is, if they can do this well, and if they can thread the needle on this thing, it's actually a very, very effective approach, provided they do it right? Anyway, let me talk you through the details. This is awesome stuff. All right, so there's a piece of legislation out there in Congress right here, right now. It's called the Support Act. I'm guessing you probably figured that out, considering I've said it like 3 times now here in this video. However, basically what they want to do is they want to send out ongoing $1,200 checks per adult per month for 5 years, which would total $14,400 a year per adult, okay? So if it's you and maybe a spouse, you could be getting $2,400 a month basically through the course of the entire year, or what is that? $28,800 a year. Pretty awesome, right? That's a lot of money. That's like an annual income for a lot of people, right? That's a pretty big amount of money. And then on top of that, there's also the extra allotment there for $600 per kid as well, okay? So there's a lot of money here at stake, okay? But here's another provision within here. So here's what they also want to do in conjunction with setting up these $1,200 ongoing monthly checks, which, by the way, let me clarify for just a second. This would not be on a state-by-state level. Right now, we know that there's a lot of guaranteed basic income programs going on right here, right now, all across the country, within different states, within different cities, within different counties. We know that these are going on, and again, more on that in just a second. But these checks would actually be distributed by the federal government. Not state by state, the federal government, just like the same people that distributed the stimulus checks over the last few years. The $1,200 checks, the $600 checks, and the $1,400 stimulus checks that we saw back in 2020 and 2021. The federal government sent those out, not states. The federal government did it. So this is the same thing that they would want to implement here. A nationwide guaranteed basic income program that would send out these $1,200 checks for virtually everybody going forward for 5 years. Now, let me clarify who exactly, because like I've talked about before in other videos, it's all about the income, okay? It's not about where you live. It's not about your age. It's not about anything else other than your income. It's always income based, okay? Every single time, these guaranteed basic income programs, stimulus checks, ongoing monthly checks, anything that we talk about here, it's always income based. They never come out and say, well, if you're a male and you're, between the ages of 62 and 65, you get a check. No. If you're female and you're between the ages of 50 and 55, you get a check. No, they don't do that. It's always income based. They don't care about all the other details like that. They just want to know, how much money do you make? If you make over the thresholds, sorry, you don't get a check, okay? That's what it comes down to. They want to make sure that these checks are highly focused, going out to the people that actually need them, not to the guy that wants to buy a new set of golf clubs. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me point out the details for you. All right, so here's what they identify as low income. They're identifying low income within this legislation as $75,000 a year as an individual and $150,000 a year as a married couple. Now, we can debate that all we want. In my honest opinion, that seems like a high threshold for somebody determined as low income. Again, who cares what I think, okay? Doesn't really matter what I think. I should just leave my opinion out of this, but let me throw this out there really quickly. If this were my piece of legislation, I'd probably say income probably $50,000 max for an individual and $100,000 max for a married couple. Realistically, I'd probably be more around the $40,000 and $80,000 range. That's probably where I would be sitting if I were to be doing this. But again, like I said a minute ago, who cares what I think? Literally doesn't matter. Just want to throw my opinion out there, for no good reason other than the fact that I was just going down that trail, so I just thought, let's just keep rolling with it, and I'll just say it. But honestly, who cares what my opinion is? It literally does not matter. Anyway, so this is what they're now saying as far as the income thresholds for this, okay? And again, the Support Act. Now, more on the monthly check programs that are going on all across the country. So within this legislation, here's another thing that they want to do. They want to set up hundreds of satellite programs. When I say satellite, I mean it's like little dotted programs all across the country. Picture this. Take a map of the United States, lay it down on the floor. Now take a handful of, pebbles or pennies or rice or it literally doesn't matter, okay? Take a handful of a couple hundred little things, toss it up in the air, and wherever they fall onto the map of the United States is essentially what I mean by little satellite programs. They're dotted all over the place, right? Maybe one's in some, little town in Washington, another one is in some bigger town in Florida, another one is in, a big city in California, things like this, okay? My point is little satellite, little pop-up programs all across the country to test the viability of these programs. Do they work? Do they not work? Do they provide the money to the people that we actually need it to go to? Are the people spending the money on necessities? Are they saving it? Are they spending it to stimulate the economy? What are they really doing with it, right? So it's basically a study behind all this where they want to set up these hundreds of programs. Well, guess what's happening right now? As we speak, there are well over 100 different guaranteed basic income programs going on all across the country doing exactly this, setting up little programs all across the country in different states, in different counties or cities or different little focused areas within different cities, things like this, where they're sending out exactly that, ongoing monthly checks, no strings attached to certain groups of people. And again, okay, is this essentially fulfilling the basically what they're establishing here in this Support Act legislation? Yes, it's doing exactly that, setting up the programs and testing the viability as well as the feasibility and the effectiveness of these programs. Is it working? Yep, sure is working. We see the reports time and time again. We find that these reports, the people that are studied that are getting this money, wow, their livelihoods are better. They're working more hours. They're putting their kids in daycare or childcare or whatever. They're having more healthy food options on the table. They're getting necessary car repairs and home repairs. They're getting necessary and adequate health care, visitations, stuff like that, or whatever you call it, when somebody visits a doctor regularly. My point is, they're finding that the livelihoods and the lifestyles of these individuals getting ongoing monthly checks has improved significantly after receiving the money. Doesn't mean that they're stashing it all away. Doesn't mean that they're blowing it either, but they're spending it smart on things like, hey, my refrigerator broke, guys. I'll go buy a refrigerator. Great. Awesome stuff, right? So they're finding that these people that are receiving the checks are living a much better lifestyle and that their lives have been dramatically improved. Okay, well, that's pretty good stuff, right? That is what they want to find with these programs, is they want to test the feasibility of this. Is first off, is this even feasible? Can we even do this in the first place? And next off, is it effective? Are the people that are getting the money, are they actually finding this to be effective and improving their livelihoods? check that box as well, because that's exactly what they're finding, okay? So we've talked about this before in other videos, and we've been seeing this. Over the last few years here, we've seen a lot of these programs popping up. And like I said, right now, there's still over 100 of these programs currently in place right here, right now, in the United States, sending out these ongoing monthly checks. So pretty effective stuff, I would say anyway, right? And that's exactly what they want to do with this. So the point is, what they want to do is they wanted to spend a little bit of time, as in a few years, setting up these little programs all across the country, testing all the things we've talked about many times here. Now, they would want to set up an ongoing monthly check program administered by the federal government, a nationwide program, otherwise known as the legislation out of the Support Act here, which would implement these $1,200 ongoing monthly checks for virtually everybody that has an income under that $75,000 a year as an individual and $150,000 a year as a married couple, okay? And then sending them out, no strings attached, $1,200 per person, $1,200 an individual, or $2,400 for a married couple. And then again, like I said earlier, the $600 extra for the kids on top of that, okay? Dependent kids, not like a 24-year-old, not like a 19-year-old, but dependents under the age of 17 is what it sounds like. So anyway, hope that makes it very clear. But they'd want to establish this. Now, one thing that I want to point out really quickly, I would suspect this, okay, in the event that this starts moving through Congress, okay, in the event that they want to move forward with this, and in the event that Congress is going to approve something like this, I would not be shocked one bit to see that $75,000 threshold shaved down quite a bit, okay? Now, I could have done the research on this, to be real with you. I did not look this statistic up, okay? But the percentage of people here in this country that are earning $75,000 a year or less as an individual and $150,000 as a married couple or less, realistically is probably a very high percentage of the population. 85% of the population probably falls into that category. Okay, I would not be shocked one bit if that were to be shaved down, maybe to 50, 60 grand as an individual, maybe to 100, 120 grand as a married couple. I wouldn't be shocked one bit. In fact, well, again, my opinion doesn't matter, but let me throw it out there really fast. I would actually think that would be a good approach. That would probably be a very good thing for them to do that. I'm not saying that somebody earning $75,000 a year and $150,000 as a married couple shouldn't get it. I'm just simply saying, if they're going to do it, let's focus it on the people that really need it, so that we make sure that this program is most effective going to the people that actually need it, not to the guy that says, I'm going to go buy myself some new clubs. I'm going to go play a round of 18 holes this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it goes out to the people that actually need it, or are going to spend it on things that they actually need. Not discretionary, but rather necessity, okay? Big, big difference. Don't get me wrong. We've all got discretionary buys, right? We want to buy the new TV. We want to buy the new shoes. We want to buy the expensive purse or whatever. I don't know. I'm just simply saying, we've all got stuff we want to buy that we really don't need, but we think, oh, that'd be awesome to have. If I had an extra grand today, I'd go buy this thing that I don't need, but I would love to have. You know what I mean? We all have something like that, right? We could all go on with our lists of wishes and wants and things that we think that would be awesome. I'd love to have it, but I don't really need it to get by every day. You know what I mean? So my point is, in a program like this, if they make it highly focused and make sure that it's only on the lowest income beneficiaries and the lowest income individuals, then they find that these programs are most effective, okay? Anyway, want to bring you the details of this. Again, I'll continue watching this just like I watch everything else out there. There's a lot of things that are happening right now. Congress has always got something up their sleeve. Usually it's a bunch, well, you know what I'm talking about. It's usually a bunch of nothing, or, the other word that I wanted to say. But anyway, I'll continue watching it, and anything they pull out of their sleeve, good or bad, or, stuff like that, of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away. Either way, want to bring this to you, let you know what's going on here, and of course, anything else that they introduce, anything else that they're talking about, any movement on anything out there, of course, I'll bring it to your attention. So please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, take care, have a good one, and catch you again later.